Playing on a Budget is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, the best Magic the Gathering singles and sealed retailer on the internet, GatheringMagic.com, your #1 source for Magic the Gathering news and content, and RogueDeckBuilder.com, my personal channel filled with innovative and entertaining Magic the Gathering rogue brews. Hi there, it's Kevin with GatheringMagic.com here with another episode of Playing on a Budget. This week we're going to go back into Standard, and we're going to go back to my kind of Synergy rogue roots, and we're going to brew around this Rally the Ancestors. So I don't know how well this deck is going to work. I've only played this deck in a few kitchen table matches, and it did some hilarious things, but we're going to put it up against the MTGO 2-man queues against the Tier 1 decks and see how well it performs. So this is going to be comboing off with Rally the Ancestors and Constellation. There's two ways to build this deck. You can go through Constellation, or you can go through just plain aggro and Devotion to Black. The key card, the MVP of the card, is going to be Mogis' Marauder, as when it comes back into the battlefield, it's going to give all your guys haste. So you do need to find this guy in the graveyard as soon as possible. But I mean, this has a lot of fun stuff in it. Like Brain Maggot can disrupt your opponent and help you get to where you need to go. And then you do just have this nice little curve with the aggression, like Spiteful Returned, Gnarled Scarhide. All of these cards are very aggressive, and you can put your opponent has to remove them. So they're going to be doing the job of putting your cards in the graveyard to begin with. And your other MVP in the deck is going to be Grim Guardian, which says whenever another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life. So hopefully you're going to get enough cards in the graveyard that when Rally the Ancestor triggers, that you'll get back enough things that will just immediately kill your opponent, or at least just do a lot of damage. So before we go over the entire deck list, we're going to go over the prices brought to you by our sponsors, CoolStuffInc.com. So we have this one is going to run us around $61, so I guess we could have some flexibility to add a Thoughtseize or two, or maybe like an Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth, and then go more of the basic Plains route. As we are playing 8 comes into play tap lands, it might end up setting us back, so we'll have to wait and see if that's the case. But the Caves will run us at $3 a piece. The Drown in Sorrow, which is an uncommon, runs us at $2.25. The Herald of Torments are $1. The Master of Feasts are $3. The Necromancer Stockpile, which is one of in the sideboard, is 50 cents. The sideboarded Nyx-Fleece Rams, which are going to help us against aggro, are going to be $1.50. Our combo piece, the Rally the Ancestors, will only be 50 cents. And the most expensive card in the deck is going to be the Temple of Silence at $4.49. So definitely, if you need these cards, go check out CoolStuffInc.com. They keep this show running. Let's go back over to the deck list. So the deck list is, again, we're going to have 23 lands. I think that's fine. We curve out exactly 3, and we need 5 to cast the Rally the Ancestors. So I think that 23 will get us there with the Temple of Silence scrying us, and just our ability to make the game kind of go later. Against other aggressive decks, we'll go on the defensive, and we do have a very, very good sideboard against the defensive decks. We have 4, or against the aggressive decks, we have 4 Nyx-Fleece Rams and 2 more Underworld Coinsmiths in the sideboard. I also have, for the U-White Enchantments Heroic deck, we have Merciless Executioner. This card absolutely shuts that deck down, and what they do is they try to put a ton of cards on one dude, and then you just cast the Merciless Executioner, and they're toast. They've spent so much resources on one guy that goes to the graveyard. That can't be, like, the way that U-White Heroic does. You can go back in one of my earlier Playing on a Budget videos and watch me play that deck. But they get around the destroy effects through either giving it hexproof or protection from the certain color, or the indestructibility. So sacrifice makes your opponent actually sacrifice a creature. So there's no way to get around that unless they have multiple creatures. And with a deck that only runs 18 to 20 creatures, that can sometimes, you can Drown in Sorrow, clear the field, or they've blocked with something. And again, their whole goal is to put one guy up to lethal damage, and then the Merciless Execution just completely shut that strategy down. So again, we have Drown in Sorrows mainly in here for the Seeker of the Way and Goblin Rabblemaster deck, or Hordeling Outburst, kind of the red-white. And then we have Bile Blight in there again for the Goblin Rabblemasters. So Goblin Rabblemasters shouldn't be too much of a problem with Nyx-Fleece Ram. I mean, they could get a little bit out of control, but we're going to be able to stay on pace with them. And I think that our just control route will come in, and we'll try to play into the Grim Guardian. I kind of want a sack outlet in this deck. That's kind of where we have the Merciless Executioner, I guess is sort of, but maybe I'll have to look into a card that sacrifices And so that's another way to get back stuff. Or maybe just a board wipe. We have Crux of Fate or we have End Hostilities we could easily put in the sideboard. So we'll play around with this. We'll tinker around with the list and see how well it works. It might be a complete failure. I guess that's my disclaimer. A lot of my brews are sometimes hidden gems, and most of the times they are complete absolute failures. But that's the beauty of deck building. You can try out a ton of different decks and keep it fresh, and every once in a while you hit into the deck that is just amazing. Like I've had some what I consider pretty good hits in the past with my brews, and that's my goal in Magic the Gathering, is to find one of those interesting, creative, innovative decks again that can be competitive in the standard environment. So let's cue this up here. This has been Kevin with GatheringMagic.com. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching Playing on a Budget. If you haven't already, please subscribe to Gathering Magic and check out our Playing on a Budget playlist, which contains every episode. Thanks again, and hope to see you soon.